The Duke and Duchess of Sussex are starting the new year off on the wrong foot, with a top aide becoming the latest staffer to call it quits.
Harry and Meghan's Montecito dream is collapsing fast. Staff dismissed, security reduced, and sudden silence around their $14.65 million mansion now point to one shocking reality. The couple has quietly slipped out of California, and insiders say the estate is being prepared for an urgent sale. The retreat has already begun. Staff cuts at Riven Rock, first hints of a Montecito exit. The first public sign that pressure was building inside Riven Rock came quietly. Several longtime staff members at the Montecito mansion were suddenly told their contracts would not continue. There were no detailed explanations, no gradual phase-outs, just a brief message about changes in household operations. For a property known for constant movement, the silence felt unmistakable. Neighbors who were used to seeing security SUVs, gardeners, and maintenance crews noticed long stretches where the estate looked still. Delivery drivers reported empty turnarounds and open gates with fewer guards. The house itself, a $14.65 million mansion, has always been watched closely since Harry and Meghan bought it from Sergei Grishin in 2020. Built like a French-style estate, it sits on nearly 7 acres and usually requires a full staff to keep the grounds functioning. This is why the sudden slowdown felt different. As one Montecito resident said, "It didn't look like a home getting reorganized, it looked like a home winding down." In high-end neighborhoods, staff cuts often signal the early stages of a quiet sale. Pocket listings are common, especially when owners want to avoid media attention. Even though no official listing has appeared, the shift in daily activity around the property changed the tone. People familiar with local real estate noted that the estate felt pre-sale clean for the first time since the couple moved in. A former employee added, "Everything stopped at once. That never happens unless something bigger is coming." As the estate grew quieter, another financial force threatened the future of the property: California's growing insurance crisis. A $14.65 million mansion in a high-risk zone. Cost, insurance, and California reality. Montecito's beauty hides a long history of danger. The Sussex home sits in an area shaped by the 2008 Tea Fire and the deadly 2018 mudslide, events that redefined the region's wildfire and flood risk. Because of this history, insurance companies classify properties like Riven Rock as high-exposure zones. That means higher premiums, stricter inspections, and sudden cancellations. By 2023, major insurers, including State Farm and Allstate, pulled back across California, leaving wealthy homeowners dependent on the expensive Fair Plan or specialty carriers. For a property now valued between $20 to $30 million, yearly upkeep is enormous. Property taxes, water usage, brush clearance, and specialized maintenance push costs into the high six figures, even before staff, utilities, or repairs. And hazard insurance is not optional. Most jumbo mortgages in California require uninterrupted coverage. If coverage lapses, many lenders automatically trigger technical default. This is why a single insurance notice can destabilize an entire estate. A Montecito analyst explained, "These homes rely on perfect paperwork. One missed policy renewal can put everything at risk." Industry experts add that wildfire zone homes are becoming harder to insure each year, pushing owners towards selling sooner than planned. For Harry and Meghan, the rising cost of insurance and maintenance turns their mansion from a symbol of freedom into a financial burden. The risks of living in a fire corridor make long-term ownership more complicated than most people realize. With pressure growing outside the gates, attention turned to how the couple finances life inside them. How the Montecito life is paid for. Deals, spare, and lost audio money. After stepping away from royal duties, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle shifted from public funding to a model built entirely on media deals and commercial partnerships. The foundation of their new life began with the highly publicized $100 million Netflix agreement, which launched projects like Harry and Meghan and Heart of Invictus. These early releases brought global attention, yet the content flow slowed. Meghan's lifestyle series, With Love, Meghan, entered Netflix's top 10 in its first season, but saw a drop in engagement and tougher reviews in the second. The industry began watching more closely. The couple's Spotify deal, valued around $20 million, collapsed in 2023 after only one full season of Archetypes. The fallout intensified when Spotify executive Bill Simmons labeled them "fucking grifters," a comment that circulated widely and challenged their professional credibility. Despite the controversy, Harry's memoir Spare became a major seller and secured one of the strongest book launches in recent history. But high earnings met high expenses. Legal battles, personal security, and the constant upkeep of the Montecito estate significantly reduced net gains. Documentary filmmakers and analysts often point out that maintaining a property of this scale requires continuous income. One industry figure noted, "A house like that can burn through $1 million a year before you even notice." As media deals slowed and the spotlight shifted, questions surfaced about whether the couple could sustain the long-term financial demands of a $14.65 million estate. And while income fluctuated, another pressure point formed in London, where Prince William faced questions no royal heir had confronted in decades. Why William can't just pay. Duchy rules and political scrutiny. When King Charles III took the throne, Prince William inherited the Duchy of Cornwall, a vast portfolio worth more than £1.2 billion. Although the figure is enormous, the duchy is not a private fund. It is a legally regulated estate intended to support the work of the heir, not to handle the personal financial struggles of family members living abroad. This structure places strict limits on what William can authorize. The duchy has already faced growing scrutiny from Parliament, tax campaigners, and media outlets. Any attempt to discreetly assist Harry with mortgage or operational costs for the Montecito mansion would risk a serious political backlash. A senior commentator explained, "One transfer of duchy money and the story becomes a constitutional issue." The monarchy cannot appear to subsidize private real estate overseas, especially after years of debates about royal spending. Complicating the situation further is the emotional distance between the brothers. Since the release of Spare, palace sources have described William as focused on protecting the credibility of the institution. Officials say he sees financial boundaries as essential. One aide said, "He supports the family, but he won't bend the rules for Harry, not now." For this reason, analysts widely agree that no bailout was ever possible. The responsibility for the Montecito property remains entirely on Harry and Meghan, intensifying pressure as operational costs rise. With no safety net in London, attention turned back across the Atlantic to the man who once stepped in when everyone else stepped away: Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry's help, from Beverly Hills shelter to a natural end. When Harry and Meghan first arrived in the United States in 2020, one figure stepped in quietly but decisively: Tyler Perry. He offered them his $18 million Beverly Hills mansion, complete with a full security network already in place. It became their first real base after leaving royal life. Meghan later explained that she had never met Perry before he made the offer, calling him the first person who protected us when the system wouldn't. For a couple navigating legal uncertainty, media pressure, and the loss of official UK security, Perry's support created a crucial lifeline. Security specialists estimate that protecting a high-profile couple like the Sussexes can cost $2 to $3 million a year. Perry's infrastructure absorbed that burden during their transition. But once Harry and Meghan purchased their Montecito estate, the relationship shifted. Perry returned to his expanding Atlanta studio empire, while the couple began building their own presence in Southern California. Over time, his role faded into the background. Observers emphasize that Perry's help was never designed to be permanent. It was emergency support during a turbulent moment. A Hollywood executive put it simply, he gave them a start. He wasn't signing up to fund their future. This distance became more noticeable as the couple faced industry cooling, financial pressure, and rising costs at Riven Rock. Without Perry's support, one more safety net disappeared. The couple now stood fully on their own in a region where wealth, image, and opportunity shift quickly. As Perry stepped back, Hollywood itself began recalibrating its relationship with the couple, and the atmosphere around them changed sharply. Hollywood recalibrates, from Oprah hype to mixed with love, Meghan reviews. When the Oprah interview aired in 2021, Harry and Meghan became one of the most sought-after pairs in global media. The broadcast drew over 17 million US viewers, and Hollywood viewed them as a fresh narrative with enormous commercial potential. They entered boardrooms, development meetings, and production spaces with the momentum of cultural icons. But momentum is fragile in an industry driven by output and consistency. The collapse of the Spotify contract in 2023 sent the first major signal. Executive Bill Simmons, publicly calling them fucking grifters, created a shift in tone across the industry. It raised questions about reliability and value, questions Hollywood rarely ignores. Then came the mixed reception to With Love, Meghan. Although the first season performed well on Netflix, the second faced criticism for being overly curated and lacking depth. Major outlets challenged the direction of the series, and engagement dropped. These events contributed to what insiders increasingly called the Hollywood freeze. Brand collaborations cooled, meetings were postponed, and agencies became cautious. A producer familiar with the situation noted, "They didn't lose fame, they lost momentum." For a couple carrying the cost of a $14.65 million estate, any slowdown in high-level deals has immediate consequences. The recalibration wasn't personal, it was strategic. Hollywood invests in consistency, not symbolism. Without steady output, the support system that once surrounded the couple began shrinking. Their network grew smaller. Their public value became harder to calculate. As their industry standing shifted, Harry's legal battles and security challenges added another layer of pressure, complicating every decision connected to the Montecito estate. Legal and security pressure. Why moving is not straightforward. As pressures built around the Montecito estate, Prince Harry faced a second battle playing out thousands of miles away. His legal cases in the UK, including actions against multiple tabloid groups, and his fight with the Home Office over police protection, created rising financial strain and constant uncertainty. Court documents made one point clear. Harry no longer receives automatic UK security, a change he described as dangerous for his family. Judges upheld the decision, ruling that a case-by-case system was lawful. This ruling left Harry, Meghan, Archie, and Lilibet in a difficult position. The Montecito estate became their most secure option. The property's distance from public streets, its gated Riven Rock community, and its layered protection created a level of privacy they could not easily replicate elsewhere. Former intelligence officers have repeatedly explained that moving into rentals or hotels would sharply increase exposure. One advisor commented, "A home you control is safe. A place you borrow is not." Legal fees, ongoing court appearances, and the threat of further litigation added to the weight pressing against the household. And with the estate's maintenance and security already costing millions each year, every new challenge placed more strain on the foundation keeping Montecito stable. This combination, high legal costs, reduced UK security, and the need for constant US protection, formed a trap. They could not easily leave, yet the pressures of staying built with every passing month. While security concerns locked the family in place, another factor complicated the picture. They no longer had a reliable home base in the United Kingdom. Frogmore gone and Windsor closed. No easy UK home base. In 2023, the final link connecting Harry and Meghan to royal property in Britain was cut. Frogmore Cottage, the Windsor estate they once renovated and repaid public costs for, was reclaimed. Without that residence, their only formal home in the UK vanished. It was more than a logistical inconvenience. It removed the only grounded place where the family could stay with security planning in place. Harry stated through legal filings that he did not feel safe bringing Meghan, Archie, or Lilibet back under the current protection rules. Relations inside the royal family remained distant. The release of Spare, the Netflix documentaries, and years of unresolved tension left no clear path to a restored relationship. As one palace source said quietly, there is no home waiting for them in Windsor or anywhere else. Without a residential foothold, returning to the UK became complicated, politically charged, and potentially unsafe. This amplified the importance and the weight of Montecito. The California estate served as their only stable base, their only fully controlled environment, and the only place where long-term routines could unfold. Losing it would mean navigating the world without a fixed location, something security professionals describe as one of the most dangerous situations for a high-profile family. The absence of a UK base meant any move out of Montecito would push the couple into temporary housing, rentals, or hidden short-term stays. For private figures, this is inconvenient. For Harry and Meghan, it is risky, expensive, and unpredictable. With no safety net in Britain and rising challenges in California, the next pressure came from public perception itself, fueling constant speculation that a sale was inevitable. Why Montecito sale rumors keep returning, market logic, and public mood. In Montecito, the real estate market moves quickly, and the presence of public figures often turns ordinary changes into major speculation. The Sussex estate, purchased for $14.65 million, has risen in estimated value to $20 to $30 million, making it one of the area's most watched properties. In a region where estates owned by figures like Oprah Winfrey change hands quietly, even subtle shifts around Riven Rock spark discussion. Locals have described a pattern over the years: fewer cars entering, less visible staff movement, and long stretches of stillness. Each time these patterns appear, rumors of a potential sale resurface. Some Montecito residents privately admit frustration with the global attention the couple brings. A longtime homeowner said, "We didn't sign up for helicopters and paparazzi vans." That sentiment feeds a narrative where the community imagines or even encourages their departure. At the same time, observers point to the volatility in the couple's media income. When projects slow, whispers about the financial weight of maintaining such a large estate grow louder. The interest is intensified by the lack of public information about the couple's finances. Without official figures, small signals, staff changes, reduced activity, or cooled industry deals become interpreted as proof that a sale is coming. Real estate watchers call this the Montecito effect, where speculation builds long before any paperwork exists. A property consultant explained it clearly. If a high-value home looks too quiet for too long, people assume it's going on the market. The combination of rising costs, shifting income, and community tension ensures that rumors about the estate never stay quiet for long. If Harry and Meghan ever choose to leave, the way they exit Montecito will likely follow the same discreet playbook used by the wealthiest residents. How a real quiet exit would likely look: pocket listings and silence. If the Sussexes decide to sell their Montecito estate, it will not begin with a public listing. Luxury brokers in Santa Barbara County say high-profile owners almost always start with a pocket listing, contacting a small circle of wealthy buyers, private funds, and overseas families. These listings never appear online, and showings are handled silently. For a property tied to global headlines, this method would be essential. Before any sale is visible, small operational changes would appear, exactly the type already observed by neighbors. Reduced security presence, fewer staff rotations, landscapers missing scheduled days, and boxes moved to off-site storage under LLCs. These signs usually surface months before a home quietly transfers ownership. A Montecito agent explained, "By the time the public hears, the buyer has already walked through the door." After a pocket listing stage, the couple would likely move into a rental home or another gated community while keeping routines for Archie and Lilibet stable. Meghan filmed parts of With Love. Meghan at a rented farmhouse, showing they already use alternate properties for privacy. Moving into a rental would also reduce immediate security risks compared to traveling between hotels. The actual sale of Riven Rock would likely occur through asset-shielded structures, keeping names off public records. Wealthy sellers often complete transfers through trusts to avoid attention and protect privacy. One industry insider put it simply, "A quiet exit isn't a mystery. It's a method." For now, Montecito watches the estate closely. The combination of rising costs, shifting public perception, and structural pressure makes the possibility of a sale feel increasingly plausible. But until unmistakable signs appear, the story remains suspended, caught between silence inside the gates and speculation outside them. The Montecito chapter that once symbolized freedom now ends in silence. As Harry and Meghan retreat from their California sanctuary, the question is no longer whether the mansion will sell, but what comes next for a couple running out of safe ground. Their future is shifting, and the world is watching closely. Stay with us for the next major update. This story isn't over. Subscribe now so you don't miss what unfolds next.